point right below this point. Okay. And want you to mark 2 points, one above and one below the line. Okay. Now I want you to draw a slanting line. Okay, guys, make sure you're doing it super lightly because we don't want our outlines and the guidelines to be super dark. All right. The main reason is when you do it very dark, it kind of shows through. And also that we normally are using a graphite pencil. It's just a normal graphite pencil. This is actually a super cheap pencil. You can use your Apsara or anything. So what happens is graphite and charcoal really don't go well together. So try to make sure that you're doing it super lightly. Okay. Now, we all know the alphabet C, correct? Now, I want you to draw the alphabet C over here. And an ulta C, an opposite direction C over here. Okay. Now, we are just going to join the upper part, join the point and down here. That's all. Easy. Okay. And for the bottom part, take a slight curve. Okay. And join the point and to this. I feel this curve turned out a little too much, like it's way too inside. Just gonna take a lesser one. See, guys, always remember, feel free to use your eraser. We have an eraser for a reason, right? Don't feel like if you've made a mistake, it's done. It's the end of the world. Correct your work, improve it. That's all about art, right? Like you have mistakes, you need to correct them, you need to change things. That's a part and parcel of it. Okay, now draw another C over here. Okay, and a semicircle. Okay, and draw another circle right inside it and a circle on top of it. Okay, now I want you to draw an ulta U on top of it, like almost like we are putting like a cap on top of it, like a topi on top of it. Right, now draw another structure just like this above it. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect, guys. We should not be trying to achieve being perfect. It should just look good enough. Being perfect will come on its own, don't worry. So halfway through this is where our eyebrow normally start. Okay, and if you draw a slanting line here and mark a point, this is where your eyebrow end. And if this is our eye, right, like half of it is over here and 3/4 of it around here is where your arch is normally. Okay, what we are going to do now, we are going to take the line from here. Use dotted lines, guys. Don't use bold, like just don't draw bold lines. Use dotted lines and just bring it down, and again it's just going to taper down that way. I think you guys cannot see it in the camera. Can you guys see it properly in the camera?
Only eyes is visible, not an eyebrow.
Okay.
Ma'am, not so clear.
I'll just use a different pencil. I think my pencil isn't that great. Okay. I hope it's better now. Better now, right?
Ma'am, it
Ma'am,
has to be a little darker.
okay, just
tap on your mobile. Uh, just give focus on your mobile.
Hmm.
That's fine.
All right.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna draw another line like right under it, okay, here. And another one here. Don't join it, just a slight, you know, we're just marking out the details. So we'll be able to work with it later on. Okay. Now in the air, just hover over it, like have a shape of a circle. Just do it like 2 or 3 times. Don't touch your pencil to the paper. So you'll get a shape, right? And then just start with both the points. Don't join it. Basically, we are just gonna draw almost like a circle here, a semicircle without joining it. And we are done with the outline. Just erase all the guidelines like the straight line, the slanting line, the line in the middle, and all this. We don't need all this. Now I'm going to start working with my charcoal. All right. You can use any charcoal pencil you have. Use the soft grade. Okay. The soft grade. Just outline the parts
And
that
can
I'm.
we use normal pencil?
Yes, yes, you can. Make sure you're using darker, like, use a lot of pressure for this, or like make it darker, these sections. And if you're using graphite pencils, you can use 6B, 8B, or like if you have anything darker, not nothing, if you don't have anything less and you have only darker shades, you can use that also. Just bring it down. Now, see, I'm not going to join these. Okay. I'm just going to draw the sides of it. Okay. And I'm going to mark the C over here and also going to outline the circle and another circle in the middle. Gonna mark this. Okay. We don't want to do anything with the highlight. We want to leave it empty. If you want, you can just outline it. Don't do anything inside it. Okay. Now, hold your pencil at the corner. Use a little less pressure. You can hold it at the corner or a little bit to the middle. Use less pressure. Hold it at an angle like this. Can you see how light this is compared to this? Those who are using graphite, you can use 2B or 3B for this. We want to make sure that this is super light because this is going to be our skin. Okay. All this is very easy with powder work, guys. Normally powder work is much easier, but yeah, like I assume a lot of us won't have powder, so pencil it is. Now let's learn something about hatching. Okay, hatching is basically to draw lines next to each other. Okay, so why did I tell you that? We are going to do that for the skin part. From the top to the bottom. Can you see again? I'm doing the same thing. I'm holding it at a corner, holding it at an angle like this. Very light strokes. Okay, don't, make sure you're not doing it too dark. And I'm just drawing lines next to each other. Okay, now let's work with the shadow. All right, we are assuming that the highlight is over here. correct? So highlight, what is highlight? Highlight is basically, understand it like this, don't complicate it. Shadows are basically the darker section. Highlight is basically the section which has no nothing in it, there's no tone in it, it's basically just a white section. Like for example, this is the highlight of my fingernail. Okay, so like that. There are, like, there are other tones also, like mid tones and stuff like that. But basically we need to understand that if you want to achieve any kind of realistic effect, we need to balance and play around with the shadows and the highlights. So I'm not going to add any layer to the middle, I'm going to leave it empty because it's going to be around the same place, right? This is the highlight, so it's going to be here only. The light is not going to be like I'm going to go here or I'm going to go here, right? So it's going to be like that only. So I'm going to add shadow on the other side. Guys, make sure you're adding strokes at the same direction. Okay. Don't draw strokes like this, like this. Okay. I'm going to draw a little bit of it right here also, just to add that shadow. Can you see I'm adding very small strokes over here. So try to add small strokes over here also. Guys, don't worry too much about it. It's pretty easy. Art is pretty easy once you start enjoying it, enjoying the process. So before we move on to the next step, do you guys have any doubts so far? And are you able to follow along? Do you have any doubts? Awesome. Awesome. So now I want you to take your tissue paper out. Okay. Just fold it into half like that. Fold it into half again. Okay. Fold it again and like that. And you can use it. If you don't have tissue, you can use cotton. Okay. Now, sorry, we are going to do something called circularism. Okay, even with pencil or when you're blending or anything like that. What is circularism? Basically is to draw or shade in circles. We're just going to, like, shade like that. Our motion is not going to be like this, like this. It's going to be like circles. Okay, this gives us smooth results. Okay, that's the only reason we are doing it, for smoother results. Understand, whenever you need any kind of smooth like, you don't want too much texture, you want something super smooth, that's when you use circular motion. And when you want texture, you work in the direction of the texture. Okay, now I'm gonna I'm just gonna add a little more shadow because I feel like the shadows are not enough. Don't do this if you feel like your shadow is dark enough. Okay, mine isn't seen that dark in the screen, so I just want to add a little more, just a little more. Okay, guys, don't go overboard with it. This is like, when you're in your cooking, like people say na, like you can add more salt but you cannot remove it. It's almost like that. You can add more material, like you can add more medium to your paper, but you can't remove it easily. Like erasing sometimes can become a hassle, so don't overdo it. Like, stay on the lighter side. If you feel like you need to go darker, you can go darker. So now I'm going to repeat the first step again, the same thing. Yeah, would be nice if you could not spam with the video. Like, if anybody asks question and this keeps happening, then it's not nice, right? Why did we add this is because this is the shadow. Why do we have a shadow there? It's basically because of the eyelashes. Okay, so now we are just going to basically color this and this part up. How are we doing it? We are going to use circular motion again. Okay, now I'm going to take my brushes. This is just a normal makeup brush. Okay, you can use your earbuds instead of this. You can just pull it out and twirl it and you can use it. um so I'm just blending it. Blending is basically to make it merge into the other part. This is actually my favorite part of charcoal because it becomes so much darker. If you're using charcoal right now, you can see that it's becoming so much darker and vibrant. Looks very beautiful. This is like my favorite step, to be honest. And while blending it, see, charcoal is a very powdery medium. Okay, so you can actually manipulate it a lot, and it's very nice because you don't need to add more layers. Like if you're using graphite right now, you'll have to use your pencil and do circularism here also, like basically add circles, like draw small light circles over here, and you can just blend it off and you'll get this result. But with charcoal, it's like, because it's a very powdery medium, it's kind of easy. Like, and now what I'm doing is I'm just going to use the same powder and just pull it out like that. And if you're using graphite, if you're using any normal pencil, you can just add a very light layer of graphite over here. Like basically just draw very lightly over here. You can join this and then blend it out. I'm just going to blend this section out too. See, I'm just blending the line, not much. When I bring it down, I'm using circular motion. The reason is here I wanted to just be smooth. I don't mind how it looks like, I just wanted to blend. But here, this section, I wanted to be super smooth because we don't have texture in our eyes, right? So I'm just gonna use circular motion here. As I told you earlier, like, it's easy to understand it. Like, whenever you need a smoother texture, use circular motion. When you need a texture, work with texture. Like, there are different ways of working with it, but in general, this is like a very generalized way of telling that. I'm just blending the circle out. Also, when you're blending the circle, make sure, if you are using charcoal, make sure you're blending it inwards. If you are having excess charcoal coming out, make sure it's coming inside. Don't make it come outside too much. Okay, it's fine a little bit, not too much. Like, don't have one whole patch of charcoal around it, rather have it inside. Okay, I'm gonna take my pencil and I'm going to draw strokes. How am I going to draw the strokes? In the center, it's going to be straight down. And as I move along, it's going to move to the side. And to the opposite side, it's going to be like that. Okay. And from the bottom, it's going to be inwards. Now I'm just gonna take my brush. You can use your blending stump. You can use your earbuds, and I'm just gonna blend it in the direction of the strokes. Like here, I'm using it in the direction. Like it was straight here, I'm gonna blend like that. It was moving to the side like that. I'm gonna blend like that. Always remember, blend your work in the same way that you have added that medium to the paper. Okay. Now for the eyelashes, it's going to be straight over here. We are going to draw basically a tick mark. Okay. Remember this tick mark we used to have in our school, like, this is the right answer, this is the wrong answer. Do you all remember this? We all used to have this, right? Given next to the things. I think even now when we are ticking some box or checking it, like, we use this kind of a mark, like the tick mark. Am I missing any questions, or is the chat so quiet in? It's a quiet crowd, guys. Okay. So I'm gonna draw straight up here. Okay, guys, make sure you're having a super sharp pencil whenever you're drawing anything related to hair, your eyelashes, eyebrow, hair, or anything. Make sure you have a super sharp pencil. You should be able to stab yourself with it that sharp. And to the side, it's gonna bend again. I just broke my light. Just a sec. Like that. And to the side, it's gonna bend like that and like that. Okay. To the opposite direction, it's gonna be opposite. See, this side eyelashes are going to normally be smaller than this side ones. I'm glad it's that way, Supriya. Okay. So for the bottom, it's going to be same thing but smaller ones. Okay. Again, it's straight here, and as you move on, it's going to go to the side. Don't add too many. Like usually your bottom eyelash doesn't have, like, your bottom eyelid doesn't have too many eyelashes. Okay. And in the middle of these, I want you to draw smaller ones, one, two, or three of them, smaller ones. Okay. Again, the same rule, straight here. As you move on, it's going to bend to the side. Okay. Now,
Hello, ma'am.
yeah,
Tamil.
I don't know. I mean, I can talk in Tamil, but I don't think a lot of us know Tamil, right?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So I like, see, we drew a tick mark now, right? Join another tick mark right next to it, like that. To the same thing, okay? Like right next to. Like, so now I'm going to do the same thing for the bottom ones also. Who was that? Okay, so this is how you can have a very simple eyelashes going on. Okay, like not too much, not too less, like that, very simple. Okay. You can just, what you can do is you can just blend it like in the direction like that. Guys, please stay on mute. Thank you. See, if you keep unmuting yourself and you're crying in this class and things like that happens, I will not be able to concentrate. Like, I'm telling something, I may forget something, and you're the ones who are going to miss it out. If I forget about something, like you'll miss out that part of the knowledge, right? So please have the dignity to the class and please be on mute, guys. Thank you. I hope you're all enjoying it though. Like you're doing it and you're finding it easy. Now I like super long eyelashes, okay? So I'm just going to go over it and make it thicker. You can leave it like that or you can make it thicker. And I'm just going to blend this whole section. I'll just blend this also a little bit. See, when you're blending this part now, if you're going to do it, you don't have to do it. If you're doing it, always remember, have circular motion and pull it down. Like, your motion should be like that. Don't have it like, don't just do that. Use circular motion and just pull it down like that. So kind of distributes that charcoal, what is there already. Feel like this doesn't have enough over here. See, guys, understand one thing. Like with art, you always need to know that even though you're not getting perfect things, you should know where your mistakes are. Like right now, I can tell you a lot of mistakes of my own work also, and it's like you should be able to identify it. Eventually, you'll be able to correct it also, and try to achieve that point where you can identify your own mistakes and learn the skills to upgrade yourself in that way. So for the eyebrow, it's going to be straight over here, and as you move on, it's going to bend. Okay, like straight like that, and it's going to just bend down and goes down. Okay, again, one thing that I see a lot of people do is they don't use sharp enough pencil. To be honest, this is also not sharp enough. If you can sharpen your pencil more than that, you should, sharpen it more. I mean, I don't have it because I've not sharpened my pencil for a very long time now. And also, another mistake that I see a lot is that they draw strokes like this, all in one line. Don't do that. Have it one up, one down, one up, one down, one up, one down. Like, make it go simultaneous. Like, don't start all of it from one point. Because your eyebrows are not like that, right? How much ever we want it to be so perfect and all like proper, we are human beings and we have flaws, right? Like, if you call it, I don't even think it's a flaw, but then yeah. So for the upper part, like this is the bottom part of it. For the upper part, just draw strokes in the opposite direction. We are kind of forming a V-like structure over here. Okay, don't try just make it V. Okay, just randomly, but I'm just telling you so that you get an idea of what's happening. Okay, now again the same thing's happening from here. Like I'm just gonna add more strokes because it's pretty like empty, right? Now I want you to take your earbuds or whatever you have for blending, right? And again the same rule, like blend it in the direction of the stroke. See, why we blend it in the direction of the stroke is when we are blending, we are kind of removing that. We are kind of mixing all the strokes over there, right? So if we are not doing it in the same direction and if we are trying to do it in all kinds of direction, what happens is all your effort of, all this, like, making it in one direction will kind of just reduce. It just nullifies it. And also it looks a little weird and it looks a little muddy. So if you don't want like muddy result, blend things in the same direction as you've added your medium. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to just add a few extra hairs here and there. Smaller ones, just smaller hairs, just so it looks more natural, right? Now you can take your eraser, use a new eraser, like you can have a sharp corner on it, right? Use the sharp corner. Or if you don't have a new eraser, cut your eraser and you'll get a sharp corner. You can use your sharp corner and you can just highlight in the things. This is an eraser what I'm using. It's all in the same. I'm just removing all the highlights from your. Oops, I forgot one part. This part. What goes wrong? Can we erase charcoal stain completely? Supriya, it depends from how. Like, if you are gonna add charcoal from your pencil, it's a little hard to erase it. You cannot erase it completely, like zero. But if you're working with a pencil, it's very hard to remove it. But if you're working with powder, you can erase it to a good extent. So now in this part, I totally forgot about this. Draw two more C's, okay, like that, and add more strokes in the same direction as the C.
Hello.
Yeah. And I'm just going to blend it in the same direction. And I'm going to add a few highlights on it. Doesn't have to be in a particular manner. You can just add highlights randomly. Smaller ones can be added randomly because light is not like completely restricted only to that. Like you can add small highlights here and there, but not too many. Okay, don't go overboard with it. And we're done with it, guys. Rashmi, if you could take over.
So I hope you guys have enjoyed and it was really easy for all of you to learn by here. Quickly, if you all can let me know here in the chat box. Can we have a quick feedback about the class? How was the class for all of you? If everyone can tell me.